Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A very good Monday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage right here in Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Thank you to everyone for tuning in on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, watching on YouTube or listening on podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with here. Guy Flaming from the Pipeline Show, who over the course of the next couple of weeks, I guess month and a half, we'll be wrapping up season 20. Of the Pipeline Show, and then gearing up for season 21.
You get a round of clicks for that,
of the Pipeline Show.
Hey.
Well, and Benny on the other side of the camera. How did season 20 go for you?
It was good. It was a fairly decent year. I think it helps when the local junior team is doing well, the Oil Kings. So it was a fun year from that perspective. Had lots of good. The players on this year, I thought were really good. The draft eligible guys. It was an interesting year. Sometimes it's hit and miss because they're 17 years old, a lot of them. And for some, it's going to be like their first radio interview. It seems that's going away a lot more now. Guys are a lot more prepared, and it's not always their first interview. So there were a lot of guys that felt like I was talking to a 25-year-old instead of a 17-year-old.
Is that coaching? Like they're getting media coaching? Or is that like maybe they're doing like video games, Twitches or TikTok videos or something?
Sup, fam?
Where they're a little bit more on a mic, on a camera.
I think teams probably do a lot more with guys now. And I don't necessarily mean in terms of training, but there's probably a lot more social media stuff where they're more involved and stuff for their team website and the TikToks and all of that stuff.
Good point.
Rip City says, get the sensor ready. So he has been known for
you
dropping
like to drop
a couple of words by accident, including famously, for those that do remember being the first one to have the F-bomb on EST.
He dropped the first F-bomb?
Correct.
Yeah.
All right.
It was great.
I didn't know.
Foul
Dave
mouth.
was the first one to say the S-bomb.
Yeah, like day one.
It was day one. It was absolutely day one. He did it like 2 or 3 times on day one.
And we were like, can we? Yeah.
After all those years in radio broadcast, he was just released.
He's like, welcome to digital radio.
He had the first one.
No CRTC or CRTC doesn't.
Well, that was what I thought was happening too at the start, was that it was going to be spitting chiclets.
No, that's a format unique to its own. And a podcast, so it's a little bit different.
True.
Edmonton Sports Talk. We're proudly presented by Play Alberta. Be sure to check out their app or visit their website, playalberta.ca, and click on EST Specials. Lots to get to on the Hangout today. A lot of draft. We're a day before free agency, which will open up tomorrow. Myself and Reed will be on at 10 o'clock right here on Edmonton Sports Talk with free agency coverage for a few hours. Tommy's going to jump on from the satellite studio. I'll message you at some point to figure out what time
I'll be
today.
Around. I'm not doing anything.
I was thinking maybe like 11ish or something.
Perfect.
Like 10:30, 11ish.
Yeah.
And then actually Dusty's going to pop on as well. So we'll have some coverage for you here on Edmonton Sports Talk, recap the draft. Do have to let me take a little bit of time to talk some Canada soccer at some point. So lots to get to here on the Hangout. Your thoughts always welcome, 780-218-9999, or you can jump into the nasty chat with that. Let's get the Hangout headlines brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Premier conditions, top-notch service, unmatched value. Book your tee time today by visiting theranchgolf.com. They are the proud host of the EST Golf Classic presented by Play Alberta, which is taking place a week from today. Next Tuesday, the golf tournament gets going this next week or so. I've got the final touches of things to do, but next Tuesday and all week I will be focused on that forecast quite a bit. Not gonna lie, it's what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Right now I've seen sunny, about 20s, but I did see a forecast yesterday that had a little bit of rain. So
it's too far out still. Knock on drywall. Eva G says she's good to go for helping out.
Perfect. Yeah. I got to talk to my mom, and then I have a few. Sickler's coming back.
Nice.
I got to reach out to Sticky Rice, and Mary is going to.
Oh yeah, Twitter Mary said she'd help out too.
Okay. Nice. Draft. What did you guys make of the the format.
I'll be
how
honest.
it was executed.
I want to hear Guy what he has to say about it.
Well, I tweeted it on Friday. I said whoever came up with that format idea needs to be fired immediately because that was awful.
They're
It was
promoted.
awful. That was, you go from the Sphere in Las Vegas, which in my opinion was probably the best draft format I'd seen from any sport any year ever,
So cool.
to that on Friday was just, that was abysmal. I mean, you got all the kids sitting in the aisle. So when the first guy gets drafted, he's got to do the gauntlet of handshakes to all of his buddies. And you do that for every player. It's 2 minutes just to get to the stage. And yes, it's a little different. Or it was kind of, the old style format. They were in the stands and they'd kind of have a similar thing where there's lots of handshakes and hugs with family. But it just felt different. And then you get to the stage and you do a pose with Gary Bettman, and then you turn around, you put on a jersey, then you take another picture with Gary Bettman, maybe a solo picture, and then Gary Bettman leads you through the doors to the back room, which is creepy. And then you're doing a Zoom interview, and you were talking about this before. Players, they're not going to be super eloquent, and a lot of times the GMs aren't, and it was just awkward. It was not good. And then for the television purposes, you got a couple more interviews with the player. It was just over the top. And was the whole thought behind it that it would be faster to do it that way? Because it was not. Was that like 4.5 hours?
Yeah, I don't know what
terrible.
happened with so the decentralized part of this was teams wanted more secrecy. They wanted to be able to be in their own draft rooms and be more secretive. And then the NHL, the GMs voted for it. What did Frank have? I think it was 26 GMs voted in favor of it.
Right.
It was 26. But I don't think they voted for the format of how this was going to be executed. So somebody in the head offices was probably like, okay, well, this is how we're going to do it. And they put that out there. Because I do stand by, I think a decentralized draft could go well. We see it with the NFL every year. The NBA does a decentralized draft every year. It works. But they don't do the Zoom interviews with everyone and make it awkward. And then there's certain things, and they still have clocks. And I don't know. I think the NHL maybe overthought this one.
Yeah.
But I love, it is actually interesting because I never thought of it that way, the contrast between Vegas of last year and then you get this year. Would the NHL, almost, would you not just sign up with the Sphere and do it there every year?
It must be super expensive, though.
You're the NHL. Got to have enough money to do that.
Well, you're not the NFL, though.
True. The NFL, though, just takes over blocks of cities. They just come in and basically take over an entire downtown and be like, this is ours now.
Yeah.
They doubled the size of Green Bay at the draft this year.
They took over what's the area in Nashville called?
Broadway.
Is it at Broadway? They took over Broadway.
Yeah.
In the middle of this, in stag season, they just took it over. So they get away with that. I think the NHL can afford the Sphere moving forward.
It was the best, I thought.
It was awesome, and they integrated the outside with the inside,
Yeah.
and the Sphere has turned out to be just a really neat building, venue, entertainment place. But you're right, Guy, yeah, that was a big step down.
It just seemed to drag. It was so long.
That interview,
I nodded off there was a stretch I missed about 4 picks in a row and that's 45 minutes to get 4 picks in.
1 through 5 was 45 minutes.
It was bad. It was bad.
Yeah, you're right. When when Bettman would take them into the little room, the interview room, and then they would have the big screen with the teams with the war room and the GMs and the hockey ops department. It reminded me of Doctor Strange meeting the Illuminati. That's what it looked like. And they brought in Stormy Buonantony. She's great. She used to be the Golden Knights ringside reporter. And she did a great, you could only do so much with that when you're like, hey, Stormy, we're going to hire you for the draft. Guess what you're doing? You're kind of doing interviews, but you're being the go-between between the war room and the player who just got drafted and is probably sweating profusely, and then you just got to ease them into it. That is not easy for her to do. She did a great job, but I just found that so bizarre. I was just, what are we doing here? Why are they talking to the play? Have we ever seen the GM with the player at the desk with Duthie or whoever from back in
I don't think
no.
so.
It was the player with the guys on the panel. And then they did that other interview with
Yeah.
I think her name's Eilish, and it was just like that poor kid's probably gassed, and she's got that's putting her into a tough spot too.
Yep.
It was weird.
Depending on what channel you were watching, like Leah Hextall was doing some some interviews with players as well, but it would be basically the same questions that you'd seen the kid answer in the Doctor Strange
Illuminati
interview, in the Illuminati room.
When Professor X comes out in his orange wheelchair. Or yellow, pardon me.
If you break down how the other leagues do it, the NFL and NBA, the player gets picked, whoever's there, they come out on stage, they get their picture with the commish, they head to ESPN, they have an interview with somebody on ESPN, not with their team, and that's it. On to the next pick.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
What kicker?
What was wrong with doing it the way it was? It made the
Like with
NHL
everyone
different.
there?
Yes. That's what made it different.
Money. They didn't have to send their teams to a city every year. That was one of the things.
Well, send fewer guys.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Pagnotta joined us from Vegas. Yes, Betty's laughing already. We're sitting there, we're like, you were literally on the air on NHL Network last night in LA. What are you doing in Vegas? He's like, well, one of the owners of a team invited me to enjoy some NHL festivities in Las Vegas. So I joined him on his private plane and woke up here.
That whole segment was hilarious.
Oh,
and his shirt that he was wearing.
And his eyes, you could blindfold him with dental floss.
People in the nasty chat were saying that's gutsiest performance.
He's nominated for
SD.
Gutsiest Performance of the Year. So, I'm like, what about the 2nd through 7th round? He's like, I don't need that.
I don't know.
He's like, I don't care.
Nice.
So, I mean, that kind of speaks to it, I think.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But yeah, Dave, I'm like, where were you set up? He was like stage left, literally just off to the side. And he goes, it was tedious. And they're going back. So the money is being spent just in different ways.
Oh, the owner spends it that way,
Had to
but some teams
pay
don't
Adam
have to.
Sandler to come out and make your pick for you. Not live. He did it from wherever he was.
Right.
Remotely.
I
don't know. I didn't like those either.
You didn't like? I like the celebrity tie-in.
But not every team did it.
That's true.
And I gotta look. I haven't watched a full NFL or NBA draft in years. The NFL, I don't think has ever had a celebrity come out and do a first round pick. It's either something very special or it's the commish.
Good point.
It's the first round. We don't need the celeb. Like you do that for rounds 2 through 7 to get people watching the rest of the draft. It's the first round here. You don't need to be bringing celebs out for that one. That's the way I look at that one. And now you're like, there should be just a prestige to that first round. And you've just sullied it a little bit because you're just bringing out random celebs to do your picks.
I just didn't like that it was not every team. If you're going to do it, have every team to have somebody represented. But like, how many did Bettman announce himself? A third? Half of them?
Maybe he's getting tired of announcing these picks. This was his way to be like, I'm done. I'm slowly going to get into semi-retirement here with these type of things. The CBA's, actually, he's supposed to retire after the next CBA.
Which
They've got it locked in last week. So they're like, we should be, when are we getting the announcement of Gary Bettman retiring?
I'm not gonna lie to you, it looked like he's kind of having fun with it. That was cool, Gary, on Friday.
So maybe he's winding it down.
Yeah, he was dapping guys up. He's like, all right, get out of here, celebrity. It's just me and the kid. I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, he's very, very in a good headspace right now, which is nice, I guess.
He knows it's his final run, pretty much.
I think you're right.
Is he the longest tenured commish?
Oh, yeah.
No?
30 years, right?
94.
Yeah, but like
32.
nobody else is even close.
Goodell would have been in the 2000s. I don't think it was 2010s.
How long was
I think it
Paul
like 2000s.
Tagliabue?
Paul Tagliabue was he only 80s or was he in the 70s he took
I think
over?
he went into the 90s a bit, didn't he?
Well, he went till, because Goodell replaced Tagliabue.
Yeah.
Goodell was like the 2000s, summer of
Right.
the 2000s. I just can't remember when Tagliabue took over. I think it was the 80s he took over.
Remember Bud Selig?
Bud Selig.
He
And
was
then, so
there for a
Rob
long time.
Manfred took over in the 10s. Adam Silver took over in the 10s as well.
From Stein?
David Stern.
David Stern.
David
yeah.
Stern.
David Stern was
He
there.
had been there a long
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
Stern.
And Gary Gary, as
Gary.
he likes to say, he was David Stern's like number 2 or number 3 or something in the NBA until he went over to the NHL. So Gary's been there a long time, and like it was I think 2 CBAs ago. I remember once there was a report of he's like, I'm going to do one more CBA or something. So I do wonder if, because this is a long CBA too. Again, like I won't be shocked over the next 24 months we get the announcement that Gary's finishing off. And if he is being a little more free out there, he's probably going, I've done all the heavy lifting. There's nothing left for me to do.
And would it be Bill Daly just sliding over?
I think so.
I hope not.
Really?
It's one of those. I think Gary's done a good job. He has lost a season and a half. 94 is not anywhere near him. He lost a season and a half, in 05-06, and then 12-13, I believe it was.
Okay.
And like the NHL is in a very good place. But I also look at him like, you look at where like the NHL and the NBA were in the late 90s, and the NBA has just shot off and the NHL hasn't. And I do wonder, like, is this a point where it'd be good? Like, that's an opportunity to try to get a different voice in there. Like, do you want same old of the last 30 years? Or is this a time to try to be a little more innovative, to do things differently? And Bill Daly, same old to me.
He is.
So is there someone
Gary's
else?
right
Yeah.
hand.
So is there
Smithers.
someone else you can go get that would be like, okay, well, there's new blood now in the National Hockey League. Is it time for new blood? Now, the flip side is you look at the other 3 leagues, I think they were all in-house. Goodell was with Tagliabue. Silver was the deputy commish to Stern.
Manfred.
And Manfred was in-house, I believe.
Yeah.
So those leagues have continued that way. But I think there'd be a lot of people in like NHL fans that would love to see maybe fresh blood.
Maybe that's the new number 2. Because I think it's pretty automatic that Daly is taking over. Because it feels like they've heightened his role publicly. And like, I'm sure there's a lot of hockey fans that might say, okay, time to get a fresh voice in there, new perspective, like Maddie's alluding to. But like, they just had a second straight record profit revenue year, and they're expecting it to be the same the next couple of years with all the deals they're signing up here. But that's where I think, like, if Bill Daly brings in a fresh voice, new perspective, and then that person, male, female, whatever, starts to provide some new insight and some ideas, and maybe that affects like who you bring in on the production side. So you're not going to the Peacock Theater in LA Live. You're going back to the Sphere, even though I heard it was really expensive. That's one thing I forgot. But it was sick. You're right, Guy. Like, it was absolutely phenomenal.
The only thing I would say with Bill Daly too is age. He's 61.
And Gary's like
72.
Yeah.
I think I just looked it up. But when, like, Adam Silver right now is 63. So when he took over, he was in his 50s.
Right. And that was like 10 years ago?
I think it's almost been that much. Roger Goodell's 66. So when he took over, he would have been 50s, maybe late 40s.
Yeah.
Rob Manfred is 66. When he took over, he'd been early 60s. So that'd be kind of same boat as Bill Daly almost.
Yeah.
Like, it's one, how long do you get with Bill Daly? Like, are you getting a commissioner that's coming in for 10 years? Or are you getting a commissioner for 5 years? Or
Right.
like, and maybe that's where it actually works, where you bring in a Bill Daly. He knows, like, I've only got like 7 years in me.
Kind of a
bridge.
stopgap.
Yeah.
And then he hires that number 2, who is that fresh blood. And we all know that, okay, well, within the next decade, that's the next commissioner. And that's where so it's a slow transition to the new blood. That's the way the NHL goes about it, does it?
It could be.
I don't trust owners to think that way, but
Fair point.
not the hockey owners.
Although the new hockey owners, like, there's some younger ones in there that are probably less crusty, for a lack of a better term, but more open to trying new things, and they're more savvy in tech and things like that. So,
But do they have the voice? And do they have
Maybe
the
not
power?
yet.
Are they power players in any way? Bill Foley, to me, looks like a power player.
yeah, well,
the NHL a little
him,
bit.
Jeremy Jacobs,
I don't think there's Ed the Kraken are power players at all.
James Dolan in New York, as much as people loathe him.
But these are the young guys you're talking about?
No, that's the old guard that's
Yeah.
still kind of.
Who are these new, young, fresh owners?
Well,
Murray Edwards.
Murray Edwards.
In Calgary.
But he lives in the UK. The one guy I look at and I go, hey, this could be like the start of something is Ryan Smith in Utah.
I was just about to say that.
He's very much, I mean, he's like
Vocal.
5 years older than me or 6 years older than me. And he's very much in tune with like digital, bringing in kit, like making it as interactive as possible, telling you what's up. I look at him and I go, well, that guy could be like the new wave. So
Do you see well, obviously you probably heard the expansion prices for the NHL.
Dave on Hello Hockey said $2 bill.
Yeah.
$2 bill.
$2 bill.
And also Austin's now potentially in the running.
Great city.
Austin over Houston.
Austin,
No,
well,
Houston's
they're
still
going
in
to go 4 likely or something.
Really?
But there's Austin, there's Houston, there was Atlanta, there was Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Kansas City?
Yeah.
That Kansas City's got a facility already.
I don't think it was Kansas City
They
in the
keep
latest
getting
thing.
passed over.
Yeah.
I think they're because they built that facility long
2008.
ago.
Remember Mario Lemieux went and visited,
Yeah.
and that's how the Penguins
They were
got there.
threatening to leave to go
Yeah.
to KC. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta
They
okay.
built
So
the rink. If you build it, they will come, but
Yeah.
nobody's coming.
The rink in Pittsburgh is fantastic.
yeah, so 4 cities shared with the Board of Governors last week. The from the NHL that were potentially interested was Atlanta, Houston, Indy, New Orleans, and Austin is a 5th.
New Orleans.
Yep. Yeah. Nick Anderson says it would work.
And no Phoenix announced in that.
We asked Dave about that on Hello Hockey, and what did he say, Benny?
He said, get a rink.
Yeah.
And then they'll talk.
Yeah.
So it's okay. So it's one of those expo situations here.
Yeah. Get a rink in a good spot in Arizona, and negotiations could start back up.
Yeah.
So they'll never get a team again.
I mean, yeah.
I would doubt that's the case, but
Well, there does come a line of how much expansion you can have.
it's 4, like you said.
Right. So that takes you to 36. Maybe one day there's 40.
And no, it could be,
Lord.
but according to Dave, it's
know.
capped at 36.
Well, because here's the one thing, and somebody once brought this up, and it made sense to me, is that like talent-wise, I don't know if there's the players. That's the fear.
Yeah.
But for market-wise, the NHL has 7 Canadian markets out of 32. So that brings you down to, what is that, 20? We're at 32. So that makes you 24.
What are we doing?
25. 25. So I'm trying to do the math. My math's off. 25. So there's 25 American franchises.
Okay.
Yeah.
The NFL has 32 American franchises. The NBA has 29 American franchises. The MLB has 29 American franchises. So the NHL is shy by 5. And that's why if you expand, you're missing 5 markets that the other leagues are in. And that's what they're trying to do. And that's why you can jump up to 36, 40 in a sense to make up the ground of just teams and markets. Now, if there's the talent, that's a different question.
that talent question will always come up. Remember 2000, 2001, the Minnesota, Columbus, Atlanta, Nashville expansion years? And we thought that the waters would be diluted.
Yeah.
Or
There's always
the product
that
pool
talk.
would be diluted. And it kind of was for a bit, but the level of hockey that we're seeing from just kids in general, like the general level of play from kids now, I think is far beyond what it was in the early 2000s.
Well, the growth of hockey in the States is largely responsible, I think, for that. I mean, you've got more hockey players in the States now than you do in Canada.
Yep.
Population obviously is a huge factor in that. But if you can grow your player pool significantly because of the Americans, then that's going to sustain the quality of players in the league.
My next thought was like, if they go to 36 teams, like how many guys freshly drafted make their NHL lineup? Like make
very
first year?
few.
You think?
Yeah.
Because like,
Or you think it'll change?
I think it might change because just like
Could.
maybe a diluted pool of players. You draft some kid that's 18 years old, 5th overall, and maybe he's a little bit bigger than most kids or whatever. Like for example, like I'm like a Porter Martone in this year's draft. Like I could like if there's 36 teams, is he a guy that would step in and play 82 that year?
Only if you can confirm he's a modern day Pat Falloon.
I don't get that reference.
Explain.
Pat Falloon, I think, was the first ever draft pick of the San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
And he made the team right out of the draft too,
Yeah.
I believe.
Did Whitney?
Ray Whitney did.
Same year?
Yeah. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
that is possible, I suppose.
Yeah,
In theory, yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder if those are guys that get more chances because there's more opportunity.
Yeah. And Pat Falloon and Ray Whitney both became Oilers.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I wonder if we see fewer first rounders get signed right away now than like last year. I think by the time training camp rolled around, probably a third of the first round, maybe a half of the first rounders were signed already. Now I don't think players are going to be getting signed because teams will, certainly because they've extended the window that you have to hold a guy's rights
Because it's 4 years right now.
up to 22. So if you draft an 18-year-old, you got him for 4 years, 19-year-old 3 years. And that with the college eligibility now as well, I could see NHL teams trying to use the NCAA almost like a minor league system. Mm-hmm. You go play college. They don't have to put them in the American Hockey League, so you can save some money that way. And so I wonder how many of the first rounders that we saw this year by September, how many will be signed to entry level deals.
That's interesting.
Well, but the whole CBA stuff starts next year.
Yeah, but
All the
if
new
you don't have
rules.
to sign your
I know,
first rounders this year,
But the
for a
extended,
while.
like the
4-year
rights
thing.
of it doesn't start till next year. Like I don't even.
So
think
this
next
crop
draft
doesn't
wouldn't
fall under that.
And I don't think next draft crop would fall in that either, because the CBA kicks in for 26.
Interesting.
Which I would assume is July 1st, 26. It's the same as like what did I see yesterday with playoff roster constructions? What was the one thing I saw that I'm going to have to go find? Damn it, forgot.
Guy does make a good point, though, with the NCAA thing now. Because, like, you don't have to immediately sign your first rounders right now either. There are some teams that wait a year. Most teams do sign their first rounders, but... yeah, because you're right, Guy, because that's what a lot of people are saying. It's like, okay, well, a guy might not be ready to make the jump to pro hockey, but he's too good for junior hockey, so go take a scholarship somewhere and play against older guys for a year or two.
Like a guy like Berkeley Catton last year, probably signed a couple of weeks after the draft. Now, I'm trying, Seattle drafted Catton. Now they're probably like, well, geez, I wish we could get you to go play at Michigan or something like that,
Right.
but we can't. So back to the WHL for you again. And now the Dubs, I mean, they've lost some guys already, and I think that will continue with the higher end guys, unfortunately. So yeah, I could see that being you mentioned Porter Martone. There's lots of rumors about him going to Penn State. So do you see Philadelphia signing Porter Martone in the next month or two? Probably not.
Yeah.
The thing I was thinking of, there's going to be changes to the American Hockey League recalls, send downs. You have to go down and play a game. There's no more paper moves that are going to be allowed in terms of roster shuffles for
Is that
Caps
right?
perspective. Saw that yesterday from Pierre LeBrun and Chris Johnston. So that if you send a player down, they actually now physically have to go to that city and they'll have to play a game and then come back.
They have to play a game?
And apparently we'll have to play a game.
Because technically they were supposed to physically go. You had to like buy them a plane ticket.
And it's changed where there's paper shuffles. But I saw something yesterday that said that LeBron and Johnson were reporting or something that it's potentially like Blake Price had the tweet I think I saw, because it's like the Vancouver Canucks, they get the benefit because they get to they're right there. So if they do it,
We'll
time
look
it
at
right,
Calgary and Winnipeg.
yeah, just drive over, go play a game. If they could be strategic with it even and be like, hey, we're home, they're home, can't go play. Whereas like the Oilers or something, it's just like, hey, got to fly down to Bakersfield, got to play a game, then you got to fly back or wherever it might be. Actually, the Oilers might have to look at like if they're paper shuffle wise, it's like, okay, Calgary's in town, or like Calgary, we're in Calgary. Okay, we're gonna send them to Calgary because it's really close or something. What are you boys laughing at?
The screen. I'll show you. That's a bigger image.
I'm
of it.
getting just a barrage of text messages about the length of my shorts.
I've seen it all over Twitter.
Shout out to Eddie. Eddie, who says, if Tommy was at the plate, the count would be 2 strikes and 1 ball. Sorry. It's a lovely Monday.
But so yeah, what it was is paper moves will be eliminated. If a team is loaned to the American Hockey League, they have to report every single time. They'll also have to play one AHL game before they can be recalled. This is to stop those paper moves, which was to cure cap. A team like Carolina did a lot last year, apparently.
Well, they've got the checkers right there. So
apparently they must have done like every day, like go down and the next day come back up just to save.
Yeah.
The NHL didn't like the teams with the taxi squad in 2021. That they were done every single day, and that wasn't the goal of it. The PA also didn't like it because players with two-way contracts earn less money when they're not on the NHL roster. So by doing those paper moves,
you're saving money.
You're saving
cap.
money and cap, but that player is getting less for the two-way deals. So they didn't like that and stuff. So
I saw Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, I don't know, but it was a goalie that was in the Jets system who said he was recalled and reassigned like 40 times in one season.
Like Comrie.
Yeah.
It
wasn't Comrie. It was another guy that lesser known guy.
That's
like just this past season?
This
was
a
he
few
recent?
He was a couple of years ago. I read the name and I'm like, that doesn't ring a bell, but
The guy in Winnipeg system.
so he would have been with the Moose in Manitoba. So he's right there, literally like down the hallway.
That's why I thought it was Comrie.
Was it like Al Montoya or something?
No, it wasn't Montoya. This is. Oh God, I'll look it up. But
Blanking.
yeah. Anyway, he was like, I got called up and sent down like 40 times this season,
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that quote now.
and I was like, what?
it's done. Demko and the Canucks have extended, by the way.
Nice.
I have a great idea that
More-
from Frank and Darren Drager. By the way, for those that missed it, the Oilers have signed Kapanen today and Noah Philp, who played for the Golden Bears.
No way.
Did he?
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? Bet you didn't know that until now. Back to the draft here while Tom's looking for what he's looking for. Anything like from pick perspectives? Anything surprise you?
Well, the first one that I think was a surprise was Ben Kindle going 11 to Pittsburgh. I like Ben Kindle a lot, and I saw him a lot because the Calgary Hitmen and the Oil Kings play. And I like him a lot, but I think 11 was a little early for him, and that raised some eyebrows. But he's a good player. He can play on my team. But I think there were better options at 11. Outside of that, I don't think there was a huge shocker. I was disappointed for the Oil Kings. Blake Fiddler, early second-round pick, but they had 6 guys rated and ranked by NHL Central Scouting, and only Fiddler was taken. I was really surprised by that. Nothing for Ethan McKenzie, who had a great year for them, and Lucas Sauchin, who Grayson Sauchin's a second-round pick. Lucas, in his same rookie year in the Dub, has 3 points less than Grayson did, and they're basically the same player. Like they play on the same line. They're carbon copies of each other. And Grayson's a second-round pick, and Lucas doesn't get drafted. I was shocked by that. He got an invite. He's going to Florida's camp, where Grayson's going. So good for him. But I was surprised he didn't get drafted at all.
What did you make of the Oilers picks? Anything stand out with any of those picks, or just your late rounds? It's
Lafreniere's interesting. He had what do you have? Not quite a point per game. So there's some potential there. We'll see. It wasn't a great team in Kamloops this year, so we'll see as they get better how much of a factor that is for him. I was surprised with the older Finnish goaltender. I thought there were better goalies still available. I'm trying to remember some of the other guys that they selected. The captain from the U.S. team.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a whole lot there.
There's a good feel-good story
Yeah.
with that Aiden Park,
Aiden Park,
which
Aiden Park's interesting.
Yeah.
Had a good year in the USHL, and then came up to Calgary for the playoffs. Only got to play 3 games. He was only going to be able to play 6 max, even if they went to the Memorial Cup. Just weird rules to bring an American up at the end of the year like that, because it was after the January 10th cutoff. I think he's going to Michigan this season.
Yes.
yeah.
But there was some like, okay, is he coming back to Calgary? So he gets 3 games in Calgary. That was kind of weird. And then he moves on. I don't know where he's going to fit in with Michigan. I don't think he's a top 6 guy for them in his freshman year. So we'll see. I mean, he's got some ability, but I wouldn't get your hopes up.
No, and by feel good, I meant just that he was the second last pick in the draft.
Yeah,
he was there.
He was in a hoodie and shorts.
Yeah.
Like he didn't know he was in
He
draft.
got his
Yeah.
standing O.
Yeah, that was
From whoever's left.
There was like 48 people left, but
Yeah. He was with a buddy and he was.
why not go? Yeah, it's like,
he
I
lives
might get
there.
drafted.
Yeah, might as well.
And then he gets a jersey out of it. It said Oilers 25, so they'll have to get that redone. But he got his
that's what it
draft
would be.
photos. Well, they do have name bars for a lot of the guys.
name bar part. I
Yeah,
see what you're saying.
yeah, they
They didn't have a
make
name
like
bar
30
for-
name
yeah.
bars of guys they think they're gonna pick. But yeah, by the later rounds, it's just the team name on the back. They'll get him a nice new one. He'll get to go to development camp.
David Lewandowski was the only other pick from
I think
Saskatoon.
it's Lewandowski.
Lewandowski?
It's a W, but I think they pronounce it Lewandowski.
That's Polish.
Well, he's German.
Well, it's Robert
I guess
Lewandowski.
German.
Well, the
It's not Lewandowski, is it? I'll have to ask
W's
Eric.
sound like V's.
I know, but Lewandowski is Lewandowski. He's like a top Polish player that plays for Barcelona. Now, have I been saying his name wrong this whole time?
I don't know.
I'm questioning it.
She'll tell you on Tuesday.
He's okay. He's pretty smart player. I think there's probably more to get from him than he gave this year, but it was a first year in North America, so cut him some slack. I expect he'll probably have a much more productive season this year. Pretty good playmaker.
Well, there you go. There's
Yeah.
the draft picks for the
Restock
NFL.
the cupboards.
And two WHL players, 2 Americans, and then a Finnish player. No OHL, no QMJHL.
Yeah.
Or they're sending a message. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Tough though when you don't have a pick until
You
the third
don't have
round.
any picks, yeah.
And next year they don't have a first either.
They do not.
So
And in 2027, they will not have a first either because that will get traded at some point this upcoming
Yeah.
season.
yeah, that's tough. It's tough to build from within when you don't have any prospects or a lot of prospects.
Yeah, but then, it is. But somehow, the Vegas Golden Knights are going out the way, going, we don't need prospects, we don't need picks. We'll just keep making trades and
Yeah.
do it that way.
Their farm
And
team was
so-
atrocious this year, but
Yeah.
And so far, it's working for them. But the moment that doesn't work, I'm fascinated to see how far down they go.
yeah.
How bad, it feels like it'll then take them just long to get back up there because if they're bad, that means they don't have players to trade.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they don't have any prospects or picks, and it's going to be a slog for them to a degree. But it's like, when will this run out for them? And maybe it doesn't.
It's like an experiment, the Golden Knights. They're so aggressive in every aspect.
Yes.
It's like, well, now you're dipping, you're declining, and you're going to have to rebuild. How are you going to do it? Attack. We're going to attack everything. We're going to attack rebuilding the system. We're going to sign every college player. We're going to,
Go get every big free agent.
In on Mitch
Develop-
Marner, apparently,
Yeah.
unless the Toronto Maple Leafs
File for
for tampering.
tampering.
Oh, yeah. What do you make of
blackmail.
that?
No, like they're gonna trade him there. And
Yeah,
then-
it's an interesting one because the NHL wants to make an example of them, apparently, of somebody. So it's like, in one sense, you're like, okay, Toronto's blackmailing Vegas, being like, if you sign him, we're gonna tattle on you. So give us something. But then on the flip side is, okay, but if they give something to Toronto and this happens, the NHL, like, isn't it now like, okay, they were tampering, and they just bought off the Leafs.
Well,
They just silenced them by paying them off. No, they're still tampering here. I feel like, I wonder if Vegas is now going to have to be completely out on Mitch Marner. So, because I don't know if you guys saw some of the penalties that could come for tampering. I got to find what it is.
Isn't it like $1 million fine?
Upwards of 5.
$5 million.
Here it is. Potential tampering penalties from the NHL. And this is from Sportsnet. They posted it up. Up to $5 million fine, termination of any contract signed, forfeiture of draft picks, awarding draft picks and or cash to quote-unquote offended club. The individual is up to $1 million fine, suspension, or expulsion.
expulsion.
Yeah, I know that's
Well,
pretty
he's had a good
far,
run
I
in the
know.
NHL.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mitch.
Like, it's just one of those, like, the money's nothing. If I'm an owner,
Yeah.
I'll take the $5 million fine, but the contract then would go away and I lose draft picks. Like, geez.
Wow.
So I wonder if this is coming out because it's like, well, now Vegas is like, well, we got to be out on Mitch Marner. Can't go get him.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm enjoying this thoroughly. This is like underground secret battle.
But, and so you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I thought there was a few years where there was a tampering window.
There's a negotiation window, or there
Yes.
was.
And why
But
did they
we-
get rid of this?
Because teams were tampering.
Yeah, but that's the negotiation window.
Yes.
That's what it's there for.
But they
Like, it was like
abused it.
after draft
that what it
until
was?
July
I think
1st,
so.
you were supposed to be able to go talk to the players. I don't know why that was the Stamkos here.
You're right. I remember that.
I think the negotiation window, like they were getting deals done, and then by July 1st, it was over. Like,
They just signed.
Yeah.
Which is what the CFL does now.
Yes.
Well,
So
how many signings are we going to see on July 1st at 10 in the morning anyway?
A lot.
It'll be
Apparently,
like
it's going to be done
10:30.
quick by all accounts. Pagnata and a bunch of others are like, it's going to be done super quick.
Well, I'll set the over. Let's make this the Play Alberta over under, brought to you by Play Alberta, playalberta.ca. Download your app. Check them out. We have EST specials right now. Dusty's I'm surprised. The Elks are 2.5-point underdogs at home this Sunday. I don't know. After watching that Ottawa game yesterday too, I'm really liking
Edmonton's
the
chances.
Elks. Dusty's got the play a day plus 2.5, so that's going to pop up soon, boosted. He's also got Yankee Jays 8+ runs in the game. I like they say in the match, and Vladdy with a hit. That's plus 142. Okay, over under. I will set it at 1.5 deals announced before 10:30 tomorrow.
Over.
Starts at 10 for agency.
Over by it's going to be.
I'm going like decent deals. I'm not going to talk about American Hockey League players here.
Yeah, no.
NHLers. I'm saying under.
You think under?
Yes.
By 10.
Under 1.5.
I'm going to go over.
Before 10:30, because teams are smart enough to know if we put it out there at 10:10, we will get called out for tampering.
What was the text I got?
They'll have it done. They'll have it all finished. They won't announce it. They won't send it to the NHL because it'll be like, hey, let's wait a little bit, because otherwise people will claim tampering.
Right.
But what
Especially now after all this news, people are going to be like, tampering.
Yeah. What about insiders though? Getting scoops on, like, do you think it could be a situation where Frank and Dave and Elliot are tweeting out all these deals, but the teams can't announce it? But it's
Well, actually, that's a good point. I'll say with the reporters will not announce the deals. They won't have a lot for that first half hour. I'm going under 1.5. You guys are going over?
I'll take the over.
I'm taking the over. I'd like to quote a colleague of ours that I'm not mentioning their name. Everyone's already got their deals done. Haha. July 1 is going to be quick. That's what I was told yesterday.
I just think teams will wait to announce just so that they can't be claimed as tampering. Yeah, they should just bring back the negotiation window. Start a draft like on the Saturday of draft. Let teams just start talking.
Isn't that what happened with Mitch Marner?
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's happening, and just make the window. Make it something that you can do, so then we can't be like, well, there's tampering.
so
Like, let it
what's
happen.
so bad about having a negotiation window? Like, what's the downside? to it?
Well, I think the thing, if I recall now correctly, is what Tommy was saying. I think at the time you weren't allowed to talk money and years.
why?
You could talk about your culture, you could talk about the team, and then teams got deals done.
You know, we got space for a lucrative contract for possibly the amount of years and the term and the sum you're looking for.
Yeah.
I don't know. If I'm a team, I would
Bad
want the
wink.
negotiation window for a few days, because then maybe I could do like sign and trade deals.
Yeah.
I could get you soon to be 7 years if you sign with this team. They just got to send us a 4th round pick. We're losing you anyways. Can we find a way to get an asset? And the only way you're going to know that is through the negotiation window.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Yeah.
I thought it was a neat tool that was obviously completely exploited.
Oilers have officially announced Kapanen, by the way.
Nice.
Cappy hour, they called it. $1.3 million for Kapanen.
Okay. Sure. He's an NHL player.
He is.
You need those.
I mean, you gotta think that's Perry and Brown gone. Most like at least one of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I love that trade off.
We'll see. Like, I could see Brown going. I could still see Perry coming back around.
I don't know
Looking for
what's going
that
on
bonus
with that.
structure, looking for
Yeah.
that deal, and ultimately looking at who's offering it to him and going, you want to know something?
Yeah.
I'm going to go for that cup instead.
Well,
Last year, we went into free agency thinking a lot of players weren't coming back. And they circled around. They went out there. They hit the market. And they came back because they didn't like what they were seeing out there. I wouldn't be shocked if we see that again this year.
how much did the cap go up?
7?
Is it 7?
Was it 89 to 95, right?
I think so.
Nine-
Yeah, that makes sense.
6?
I thought it was
5,
going to
6 million?
94. Or is it 95?
Google is our
I just
friend.
know it's like 113 million is going to be in a couple of years.
Yeah, 104 next year.
Yeah.
Not this upcoming year, but the one after, and then 113 the year after that.
It's just shooting up.
So is Bouchard going to get a short one? Pricey but short to get to this big boost in the cap? Or is he
Well, I think he
want-
gets that boost. He could get that boost right now, and the Oilers have to deal with it, figure it out from there.
88 to
It's
95.5.
95.5.
So yeah, just
7.5.
7.5.
I think you'd have to give up a little bit of money to go short term.
Gosh.
Shockey laid it out pretty good, actually. The logic there, because when we were getting these texts on Hello Hockey the other day, is like, hey, does the Dobson deal now set Bouchard at under 10? And I think we were hesitant to go there. And then Shockey pointed out the playoff numbers that Bouchard's put up. And the ask could have still been 11. And then they worked their way down, obviously. But I think Ryan was there. There was just a couple of media guys after, what was it? They're heading into the draft, or around the draft, that asked Bowman. And he said they know the range. So it's somewhere in the 10 and a half. I think people will still get mad, but probably be able to tolerate it. Yeah. But that makes sense. Like the way Ryan logically laid it out is like, yeah, Dobson's good, puts up good numbers, but the Islanders are nowhere near the same team that the Oilers have been over the last few years. Dobson, playoff success is crucial. Bouchard's had that.
He could point to a couple good playoffs and be like,
Yeah.
see, I can produce.
So what would Dobson do on the Oilers? I mean, if he was on a team as good as Bouchard's team, I mean, the Islanders are not a good team.
No, exactly. And that's what's killing him. But if you were on the Oilers.
Is Dobson not a better defenseman? Bouchard is so good offensively,
Yeah,
but he's
I
so
know,
bad
I know.
defensively.
Is he better defensively than
You're
Bouchard?
putting the emphasis on defense.
Well, it's kind of in the job title, isn't it? Defenseman.
Wait a second. But here, you know what's frustrating too is like Bouchard is capable of playing adequate defense. He just didn't for a vast majority of the season last year. And the last few years, it took him until like the midway point to wake up in his own zone.
Because he doesn't need to. All that matters is
Unfortunately, I
playoffs.
think you might be right.
All that matters is playoffs for this team right now. Just go produce in the playoffs.
Soon to be 84 game preseason,
That's-
essentially.
I'm not going to look forward to that. We don't need more.
Short the exhibition.
Oh, there, it's
right?
awful, isn't it?
Is it down to 4?
It'll go down to
Yeah,
4,
from
but then
up
we're
to
still
8 right now.
But we're not like the season's still going to end when it ends, and it's just like this is.
Yeah, it's too long of a season, but I would rather have 2 extra regular season games than 2 more preseason games, because the preseason games are just awful.
Yeah.
How about just less preseason games and stay at 82?
Yeah.
No, because that's less revenue.
This is why an in-season tournament works. And I'm not going into that one right now, but do the in-season tournament. You lower the regular season down to like 72 games, and then your in-season tournament fills out the rest for the gates.
No
Can't be
surprise.
done.
No surprise from this text. Raider Jesse. What's up, Raider Jesse? Bouchard is better than Dobson. Full stop. Raider Jesse's Bouchard guy.
Okay.
This text says Dobson
Is he
isn't
a Prince
that
Albert Raider fan or a football
football
fan?
Raiders. Dobson isn't that far off of Bouchard, in my opinion. He was just on a bad team. That trade makes no sense from the Islanders.
Well, they're falling for Gavin McKenna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all the accounts, isn't it? They just want to get that number 1 pick next year.
hope.
Which how many teams are going to be in that hunt?
That looks like a hell of a hockey player down there, Medicine
Yeah, he's
Hat.
pretty good.
I will say actually, so that I think if you're in that Stanley Cup window, which the Oilers are right now, there might be a few more teams ready to sell. Especially as you get into trade deadline. This next trade deadline, there might be a few extra players that are open if that team's really trying to just bottom out a little bit.
Yeah.
Or during the season, there might be a little quicker to go snag that player if you need one.
That's a good point, Matthew, because, and again, this goes back to the mandate with Shoggy today, but they're talking about the roster composition heading into the year. And I think we get all excited and in a tizzy about it, but like you can build your team throughout the season. Mm-hmm. You can tweak it,
Doesn't
mold
have to be
it.
perfect.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
awesome.
There's still going to be a good team. And they'll add, jiggle around cap space.
Are Oiler fans happy with the goaltending running it back?
Nah.
No?
You watch your mouth.
Depends what you're talking.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I think the
Here they
majority
come.
of people are not happy. I think there's a lot of people upset that they saw who's the kid Hofer in St. Louis.
Yeah.
he
Hofer?
said
He just-
Hofer.
Hofer.
Did you guys see the St. Louis Blues tweet
Yeah.
for that too?
What'd they say?
They said no offer sheets for Joel Hofer as he re-ups with St. Louis as a 2-year deal
That's
or something.
funny. Now they're just toying
Why
with
were
their-
there rumors that the Oilers were going to offer sheet him?
There's a lot of pressure in this market to go try to offer sheet
I
Hofer.
see.
Gibson goes to Detroit. Demko staying in Vancouver. Was there any other goalie I'm missing? That's kind of, or those were the big three.
Those are the three that everyone's been talking about.
So it's like, and I know some people like, I'll look at the Gibson deal, and some people are like, well, you tell me the Oilers couldn't match the value. They could match the value, but they couldn't match the fact that the Oilers, or the Red Wings aren't, or the Ducks aren't retaining any salary.
Yeah.
The Red Wings took a full contract. The Oilers couldn't. It was just impossible for the Oilers to take a full salary of John Gibson.
Yeah.
Even if they send Skinner the other way, you still have to make up $5 million in that.
And that's the contract, $5 million?
It was Skinner's 2 point something,
Yeah.
and I thought he's like 7.2 or something.
Gibson's 6.5, I think.
Was it 6? I thought it was in the 7s. But it like, okay, whatever. But it's like there's more. And the Red Wings sent picks and whatever to get Gibson, but the Ducks didn't have to retain. So like that is like, okay, that was going to be a tough one. You couldn't talk to Hofer. Now I'm questioning myself. Yeah. Hofer, because he was signed by the Blues.
Right.
So like the Blues maybe weren't looking to trade at all.
Yeah.
And same with Demko. Like I know they're like, oh, Stan Bowman's not doing anything. Well, for two of those goalies, like they signed with their team, so the team were maybe not really looking to trade them.
6.4 for Gibson.
6.4. Okay, so with Gibson, how do you make a deal? If one team's sitting there going,
well,
we don't need you to retain any salary. The Oilers can't be like, we'll do the same thing. Their hands were tied behind their backs on that one to a degree, like just with their cap situation. So now it's, do you go make a move in free agency to make that move? Is Jake Allen that guy? Or do you run it back? And I don't think a lot of people want to run it back. It's like, this isn't going well. But I think that there's not enough nuance to this of, well, why are they running it back? The two guys that they have are both combined under $4 million, I think. It's under 4.
Yeah.
You couldn't, there's not a lot to go choose from. Do you go make a move just for the move, or do you try to do it next season? Do you try to do it during the season? Like, as I mentioned, like maybe the Islanders are a team that through next year, they're getting close. They're seeing McKenna's maybe there for them. Maybe Sorokin's a guy that they do sit there like, you want to know something? This helps us tank. We're going to move on from, like, and probably not, but you never know. Maybe there's those teams out there that their goalie's playing hot and they're like, we're winning too many hockey games right now. They need to get rid of this guy. So that maybe that's where the Oilers take advantage of a goaltender in that sense. But I also just look at them like, hey, well, who should have the Oilers gotten over this weekend that was realistic, that would have solved people's... Well, I get the anger, I get the frustration, but I just don't know what they could have done. Now, there are talks that maybe it's a goalie coach changing, which...
Yeah, and we, like, maybe, but I don't want to...
Well, I'll go with what Shoggy said, too. Like, if you're bringing back both goalies, maybe something does have to change. And then naturally, that would be the goaltending coach.
Yes.
A different voice. And maybe that changes how they play. Maybe. If so many people are criticizing Dustin Schwartz for how he is, maybe you keep these goaltenders and you bring in a goalie coach. Maybe it changes this all.
Yeah.
I don't have my glasses on. Do those look like bad goaltender stats to you over the last 6 years?
No, except for the last year.
Last year was a tough one.
Yeah. That looks
Other
like
than that, it's pretty decent.
I don't know, a 921, a 919, a 909, and a 903. Yeah, a couple of 909s.
And a winning record, I think, in all of those years?
Yes, except for one.
Okay.
Those are good.
What if I told you the NHL team that holds this guy's rights would love to get rid of him, and you would probably eat half of his salary, and maybe throw in a pick as a sweetener for you to take?
I feel like I know who that might be.
You know exactly who I'm talking about.
We have his bobblehead on the reception area of our
It's Tristan
station.
Jarry.
Yeah.
If you could get Tristan Jarry for $3 million and platoon him with Stuart Skinner, Pittsburgh doesn't need a goaltender back in a trade.
Well, you said
maybe
Pickard.
you can trend Arvidsson
Pickard there.
Yeah.
They don't need him. They've got Nedeljkovic. They've got Joel Blomqvist as the kid they want to bring in. They got Murashov, who they're high on as a rookie. They want to get him playing in the American League full time. They still got Philip Larson as well. Pittsburgh's got too many goalies. And they waived Jarry twice last year. Nobody will take him because of that salary.
Well, they waived him a couple years ago, didn't they? Was it him?
It was
year.
longer.
Well, a few years ago, and then he like had his a really
Yeah.
good season. Because I
He was
remember
an all-star one year.
he had
Well, I think it
very
might have been
good
that year because
season.
I remember Yarmchuk was like, yeah, they should maybe take a flyer, and when they waived him in that one, and no one did, and then he went off and he was great,
Yeah.
and now it's come back down or it's dropped, but with the potential of going back. I like the idea of him and Skinner,
So do I. And at $3 million,
two guys
he
with
makes
something to
5
prove
point
going into
something
this year.
right now. But if you can get Pittsburgh to eat 40% of that,
Maybe you make that with a deal with Sidney Crosby. You package the deal.
Stop it.
Hey, Kevin, where George LaRock said there might be something happening.
Oh, okay. I'm not even going to. I'm not even.
Did you saw
No.
that stuff? Oh, George posted that there's talk of maybe Crosby being traded and potentially was to the Avalanche or something.
okay.
I was going to ask you what happened to Sebastian Kosa because he did play his first NHL game. He came in for the shootout and he won.
Yeah.
He's 22 now. Like Detroit
I
now
feel
has
awful
14
for him.
goalies.
Like Detroit's got too many goalies.
Yeah.
And then they get Gibson.
Yeah.
So now they've got Gibson and Talbot? Or is Talbot a UFA?
I think Talbs is a UFA. But they have, they
had
had
Lyons.
Campbell,
He's
they had
done.
Lions.
Lion.
Or Lion.
Yeah. Just
Kosa.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking about is Kosa.
yeah.
Is like,
Like,
does he
oh, yeah.
finally
Talbot
get a
has
shot?
one more year.
Oh, Talbs has one more year?
Yeah, Lyon is UFA. Gibson's now there.
And what was Campbell's contract? 1 year, 775.
Yeah. I don't think he will use.
I see. I'm not seeing him on. Oh, Campbell's UFA.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have non-roster goalies, and there's a few there.
He was in the assistance
Postava,
program,
Kosa,
right? So
Gielander.
he was in the assistance program.
He's a local guy.
Campbell. So yeah.
Gielander? Guylander. Local to,
Sherwood Park.
Edmonton.
Yeah.
So they got a couple of Edmonton connections there then, if you will, with Kosa.
I suppose like Kosa is still very much the goalie of the future. He's only 22.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He's their guy for the future.
They've got one more year with his contract, and then he's an RFA.
Excuse me.
So, hey, Gibson's, how old's Gibson?
He's their stopgap guy for.
Yeah, he's 31. He's got 2 more years than a UFA. Maybe the plan is Gibson this year, then next year Gibson with Kosa.
Do you compare Jarry's numbers to Gibson's numbers over that time span I gave you? Jarry's better every year. Every year, his numbers are better than Gibson's. But everybody's John Gibson. We got to get him. Nope.
And Pitt has rolled out a lot of stinker teams
Yeah,
last few
they're a
years.
non-playoff team, and he still had good numbers
Yeah.
until this past season. Change of scenery would be good for him.
Max Pizzozzi, wait until some of these teams fall off, and then some goalies will be available.
Things do shake loose. That's a good point by Max.
Having a Gavin 2026. Is that the thing people are going to be saying? Having a Gavin?
Maybe.
Because there's fall for hall, all that stuff. Having for Gavin?
Fail for nail.
Fail for nail. There really wasn't anything for Nuge. So we'll see. But people aren't happy with goaltender.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, that was an
Especially with
outside of the box idea that I had,
I,
because I'm sure Pittsburgh would eat a lot of salary.
That's the one thing, though, is like, I will say this for some people out there, not all. But if the Oilers make any sort of goaltending move, it won't be the one they want. They'll just be upset. It doesn't matter what they do. They're just going to be upset. It's going to be they'll bring in Jarry. How dare they? They should have just ran it back, or this isn't the guy, or they would have got Gibson and he would have got hurt next year. And why did we make
That's true. Did I hear Pietrangelo is out for the season?
That's what the rumors are.
Big surgeries?
Yeah, so major surgery might not be available next year. It sounds like next year, like not even playoffs.
Yeah, the whole year.
Like would be gone.
Really?
And
So
then
he won't be available on the start of game one?
potentially.
Oh, wow.
And on top of that, it's also one of those like you got to be one like it might be career type thing here
Oh.
because you got to
That's
think of his
awful.
age.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's the big report. And next year will be the last year any sort of playoff circumvention type thing could happen because after that they're gonna every playoff roster part of the next CBA.
Yeah, to be
The
compliant.
roster has to be cap compliant. The game day roster has to be cap compliant.
The guys on the ice.
Yeah, whatever you submit for your official lineup, that has to be cap compliant in
Okay.
a sense. So there will still
That's
be
good.
other
I don't-
ways, but
Yeah.
when they put out a roster, it's not like you could just shoehorn in an $8 million player because that's what you've done with LTIR.
Right. That's good. I don't mind that at all.
And then we'll find a way for Vegas to make it. Although I will say when they won the cup, if I'm not mistaken, if you go to like their game day rosters for that cup final, in the
actually
final,
were.
it was cap compliant that year.
That guy's out.
The other guys were out, and they were cap compliant, so they were able to just bring in a bunch of players, but they were cap compliant for the game.
Okay. Well, good on them. I like that change though.
Weren't the Oilers cap compliant all year this playoff?
I believe, yeah,
As soon as Hyman left, Ekholm came in.
yeah. I think they were cap compliant throughout the Stanley Cup. The Panthers were in the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
So they were a little over.
Yeah, they were over.
But yeah, I think the Oilers were still cap compliant with everything there. So that's how it will go. This is the EST Hangout, by the way, presented by Sentinel Storage. Canada Storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life transition. Canadian storage provider. Be sure to buy Canadian. Sentinel.ca. Tom Gazzola, Guy Flaming from the Pipeline Show. Matt Iwanyk, Ben the intern, with you here on the Hangout. We missing anything from this past weekend with the NHL that we need to circle back to? Just trying to remember. Not really, is there?
I thought it was a good weekend for the league as a whole.
It was.
Yeah.
So now we just get ready for tomorrow. What's the free agency board?
Outside of the optics of how bad of a draft format it
Yeah,
was.
that was that part. But like just in general, like obviously a lot of buzz and people talk about the other thing I'll just add is it sounds like everybody wants to just get everything taken care of and go on holidays. Like everybody's tired of the season. That's the sense around the league I'm getting.
Yeah, and that's what happened last year.
Yeah.
There was the Oilers made some moves after, but I think it'd be hard to find years where Ilya Kovalchuk's the last one I kind of remember because he took forever to sign when he hit free agency.
Was that the deal that
To New Jersey?
That was that deal, but that one was taking like a week or something. Like that one took a while.
And that one was like complicated, convoluted, and ended up being costly to New Jersey because they got
12 years.
penalized for it.
Right.
Top free agents for tomorrow: Mitch Marner, Brad Marchand, Nikolai Ehlers, Aaron Ekblad, Vladislav Gavrikov, Ivan Provorov, Brock Besser, Jake Allen, Michael Granlund, Patrick Kane. That's top 10.
Yeah, Patty Kane.
Hey, John Klingberg is 18.
Huh.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, it's...
He's higher than Cody Ceci on the TSN trade or free agent board.
CC.
How did they bring him back?
I'll just leave that alone. So, I like him, and I think he's a serviceable NHL defenseman. I will leave it at that. He's actually a great guy to talk to.
Yeah, we'll see what the Oilers do tomorrow. I know, like it's apparently they're in on Besser.
Yeah.
Really?
I should say that. I was going to save it for the oil stream, but
That'd be a good fit.
I had someone call me last week and say, "Hey, keep an eye on Besser because he might make his way to Edmonton." And I'm like, come on. But this person's very much connected to him. And then
Didn't Dave Pagnotta say on?
and then yesterday
Hello Hockey?
or on Saturday Pegs,
Excellent show, by the
There-
way, on
10 to
a
12 Saturdays.
right before the pipeline
digital
show.
radio station.
Yeah. Thank you. It was a happy hockey show though on Hello Hockey. Yeah, so somebody texted in and I just read the text. I'm like, yes or no? Brock Besser, possibility Edmonton. Dave's like, yes. And then he had some choice words for the Canucks and we left it at that. But I was told Edmonton, Minnesota, maybe even Boston for Besser as destinations. And then people are going to be like, well, how do you make the money work? I don't know. They have to figure it out. And, you know, Rashad was talking about like Henrique and Arvidsson being moved up. I suppose that's possible.
Well, and when I was filling in for Reed last week, I brought up an Oiler roster with Kane, Arvidsson, and Henrique on, with $10 million to Bouchard, $4 million to Frederick, and I think I had the Oilers at $10 million left. Oh. And that's what they had to go sign. But they had to go sign still a few forwards. Like obviously there was no Perry. I didn't have Perry signed. I didn't have Brown signed. There's a few. So like the defense is covered. The Oilers' defense is full. If they don't touch goaltending, you got about $10 million to fill out your forward group. If you can move on from Arvidsson and Henrique.
Mm-hmm. Which
I feel like you kind of have to do before tomorrow.
You don't have to. You can be over the cap.
I know, but my point is if you sign players and you're over the cap,
but then
it's harder to get rid of those players because teams sit there and be like, oh, you're over the cap right now.
Yeah, good point.
Oh, and these players have no move and no trade clauses, which doesn't help.
Yeah.
But it's so you need a little bit of help here. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Oilers have anybody that's a target for offer sheets this year?
Bouchard.
Or no?
Bouchard.
Oh, I guess other
But
than him.
Freeman's been saying that like I think teams are gonna be very scared of giving high end guys like a lot of money for like on an offer sheet because you'd be giving them first round picks. And with McKenna next year, if things go south next year and you don't have your first,
Uh-oh.
yeah. So
Good
yeah,
point.
that's so apparently teams are gonna be a little more antsy this year.
Well, and offer sheets work for middle level players.
Yeah.
Because you could pay them the 1 year, 2 year deals higher than what they're worth. It doesn't destroy your cap, and you could like with what happened
Right.
to Oilers last year, and it's not too costly
Right.
for the Oilers not to match a Bouchard. What would that number have to be? 11.5, 12 type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in that range of 4 first round picks. Do you really want to give up 4 first round picks for Evan Bouchard?
Good
Where
point.
it's like a Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg's a couple
Those
just
makes
middle
sense.
picks. Okay, that's cool. Like you could do that. And yeah, when you're St. Louis, okay, on the cap, that's not a big issue. We don't have to overpay that much. But to win an offer sheet or to get that player, you have to overpay. And like Bouchard's not going to sign a 2 year deal for 11 and a half. Let's say. And I forgot what I think it's 11.9 or something for the 4 first round picks. You're not going to sign. You're going to want that 7 year type thing.
Yeah.
Teams aren't going to go.
Like how St. Louis conveniently and cruel intentionally
$1 less.
$1 less than what would be the next amount of picks they would have to provide or compensation.
That's what they did.
Yeah, $1 short.
It's understandable though.
And well played.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, I don't like. It was easy for who were the 2 players? It was Sebastian Aho,
Kotkaniemi got,
but then he got let. They let him go. So that one was a bigger one, I guess. But I don't know. I think if you're a team, you're going to look more for the mid guy because it doesn't cost you as much.
Yeah.
Nice trade.
If they got an offer sheet on Bouchard for what you're talking about, 11.5 or 12, would the Oilers match or would they take the picks?
Let's see what the RFA offer sheet compensation is for this season.
4 first round picks.
Yeah, I would be moving on.
So it's 11.7, just in $11,700,192. It has to be over that. So I don't know, 192's. There's clearly the math there. So it'd have to be 11.7. If they signed somebody signed Bouchard to 11.7. I think you still have to match that.
Because if you don't, then your window to win is
how do you
now.
replace him? But now you do have 4
true.
first round picks but that's spread over 4 years. You do gain a couple first rounders that maybe you can try to help use to trade. But if you're now looking to just replace Evan Bouchard, why not just keep Evan Bouchard?
That's a good argument.
No. Yeah.
Like if it's 11.7, I think he could potentially, I think the Oilers could find a way to get him in for 11. It's $700,000 more.
Yeah.
I guess actually the one question I would have, if that ever were to happen, this is the hypothetical world. What do the players think of Bouchard and would they want him back? If back-to-back years you had players sign those offer sheets, like by accounts, some of the Oilers maybe were annoyed with Dylan Holloway and Broberg for signing those offer sheets. Would you be annoyed if you're a McDavid or a Dries or whatever, like, we're trying to win a Stanley Cup here, and now you're handcuffing this organization because now either they have to keep
That's a good point.
and we're going to lose out on depth player X because of you. So, like, are they going to be annoyed, and is that going to mess with locker room chemistry where the Oilers might have to sit there and go, you want to know something? Maybe the players are like, let him go.
Yeah. That's a great point. Yeah, because it's not just the team sending the offer. The players got to accept it.
And there's a lot of thing to be said that players just let each other take care of their own business, go do what you do. But when this happened last year and you're trying to win that cup, and it's like, I thought we're going for this.
That's a good point.
McDavid's going under negotiation, and it's like he's probably going to leave a bit on the table from what he's worth.
Yeah. Well, so that said, if he signed it, then I would take the picks.
That's a good. That changes the way I would view that.
I think
actually.
you just won me over with that argument.
Benny?
Yeah, like that's tough. It's just like, how do you replace it? Like, I'm pretty sure the D market free agency wise this year is not very good. And then if this offer sheet were to come, it's probably come later in the summer.
It does give you some trade capital though.
It
with
does.
4 picks.
It does.
And cap space. You're sitting there now open with a lot of extra cap space that even if, you wait for that one team that's falling, you could go grab a player that other teams wouldn't be able to because they've spent their money.
What about Ekblad?
The only thing is that you wouldn't, again, I think with Benny, you wouldn't know one off your sheet until after, in a few weeks
true.
type thing.
offer sheets
So
usually
Ekblad
come
will
later.
have
He'll be
signed
signed by
somewhere.
then.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be, but here would be part of the question, and Ekholm would have to be healthy for this. Would an Oilers defense without Bouchard as is be playoff worthy? Like, could it keep you on a playoff berth?
That's assuming you couldn't upgrade it during the season.
No. Like, could it get you closer to a deadline where you're in the playoffs? You're sitting in a playoff spot without a Bouchard in this lineup.
I think in theory you could
Yeah.
Because
then
you would have a lot of cap space and you could be able to go
Depends
get
on
a
Ekholm's health.
defenseman or two with all that capital and with that draft space that you could actually go to it. So if an offer sheet did come, actually, as more way I think about it, I feel like it would be hard, but I think for a lot of reasons, I might let him walk.
They would need a right shot D man though.
That'd be tough.
Stetcher, Emberson, and Josh Brown are your top 3 right shot D men after that.
In the end, they'll just sign Bouchard. They'll just be signing Bouchard. And they'll sign Connor McDavid.
Rough.
And we'll figure out the cap from there.
I have nothing
We'll figure
to
out
say.
the cap from there. These hypotheticals can be fun sometimes
Cody
to talk
Ceci,
with.
you're right, hey?
Yeah,
He certainly is.
He is. Certainly.
He certainly is.
I like the hypotheticals.
It's a fun game.
Well, I don't know. I was just thinking the thought process. Like, honestly, like if that were to, like, obviously, like I will say that it'd be shocking if Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson didn't have those conversations already.
Well, you kind of have to,
Yeah.
don't you? You got a plan for everything.
Didn't seem like they planned for last year, though. So I think after last year, they definitely were like, hey, we got to think of our options just in case on certain
Bowman
things.
just made his first coffee in office and got handed 2 offer sheets. First thing as a GM, so it was rough for him.
Yeah.
He hasn't got a goalie yet. And he hasn't got a goalie yet. Portions of this hour of the EST Hangout brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of EST, promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out, thehighproductmarketing.com. Just want to give everyone a heads up. Coming up at 11, we do got the Lock Shop at noon. It is the Oil Stream. EST afternoons at 1. Reed Wilkins Show without Jay Milne at 3. MCTV Pipeline Show coming up on our audio streams tonight. And a replay of Oilers Live from last night. They will also be on our audio stream later tonight. You were going to say something?
Oh, I've just got a couple of texts that, unless you want to take it in a different direction, but there's just a couple of follow-up texts here. Andrew, the accountant, says via the Paris Jewelers inbox, Bowman mentioned that after the draft, Ekholm was completely healthy when he came back. Is that true, or is he talking out of his butt? All I can tell you is this. I was told that Ekholm was banged up and probably shouldn't even come back in the playoffs.
Wow.
But he was very persuasive and he was working his ass off to get back out there. And he did, because he's a beast. He's a damn Viking. Now, that was coming from people within the organization. I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, that's good. But you guys watched him play.
Yeah.
You saw him in the Stanley Cup final. Did he look like he was completely healthy to you?
Well, I'll say this. If he was healthy in that Stanley Cup final, this is a perfect time to move on from Matthias Ekholm. That's the other argument.
If he was,
if you're saying he was healthy,
And
based
Bowman
on his
said that.
age, he has one more year left. This maybe then, like, is this the time to sell on Ekholm or are you going to start seeing that decline? I will throw Bowman stuff back at him and then go, okay, if he was healthy, then you probably should maybe move on from him. I don't believe he was healthy.
Neither do I. So
I don't think any of us could say he was healthy watching that.
I will let our listeners and viewers judge for themselves, but keep in mind those things that we just discussed.
And GMs will make those comments. They'll fib on things like that, especially
they
players' health at times.
Yeah.
And then Box Pounder, hello Box Pounder, what's up, Neil? Says, hey guys, can I hear your thoughts on the loss of Glenn Gulletson? I don't think it's been made official.
Freeman is reporting that
Yeah.
he's going to the Stars to be their head
Next time.
coach yet again.
Oh, really?
Yes, because he was there prior.
Yep. So I'll just quickly.
Yuke's here, by the way, playing Tecmo, so you're going to hear some screaming.
No, no,
Just making sure.
That's a reunion. Glenn Gulletson, like awesome guy, obviously very well respected, and like Connor and Leon love him. love him. So that's why to me it's a big loss. And a lot of comments like on social media, take it for what it's worth, especially in the comment section. But a lot of comments were like, the Oilers power play went to crap. Move on from him. Not a big loss. They've had one of the best power plays in the league for like 5 years. How has it gone to crap? That argument is ridiculous.
Well, it wasn't at a historic level last year.
Good point. I retract my comment.
Wasn't historic.
Yeah.
How dare
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Well, I guess playoffs, that would be the closest, is that they did struggle in the playoffs.
It
but
did, yes.
I don't know. Where I will go is, and I don't want to diminish what Glenn Gulletson did with that power play, but he still got Connor and Leon. It shouldn't be that hard to coach that power play, I would think.
I think that's fair to say.
Sure. But I think just labeling him as the power play specialist and that's all he did would be unfair. I think he oversaw the forwards too.
There's been, because who brought him in?
Todd McClellan.
So he had McClellan, he had Woodcroft, and he had Chris Knobloch.
And he had Ken Hitchcock.
Yeah, that's midseason. You're not making roster changes midseason.
No, but true.
But I'm saying, so McClellan, one coach thought he was good enough to bring in.
Well, he was brought in because Todd was on thin
Right,
ice.
he had to replace his group.
He had to move on from like Woody and Jim Johnson, and so management brought in.
Was management or did Todd bring him in?
Well, he had to change his assistants.
Right. Yeah.
So Trent Iwanyk,
that's who the other one was.
and Glenn Gulletson came in.
But I know, okay, Todd, you got to make changes here. They go. Who brought in Glenn, though? Would have that been Todd still bringing him in, or would that have been someone else? Would you think?
I don't know.
Okay. So,
that I never.
Okay, so I'll just go with Todd was told he had to change his assistant. He brings in Glenn.
Yeah.
There's one coach. Jay Woodcroft takes over. You're not doing a midseason, but he has the first summer. He can make changes. He keeps Glenn Gulletson.
You want to keep the big boys
Chris
happy?
Knobloch comes in last year. He could have made changes to a degree, I think, this offseason, but didn't. Like Glenn Gulletson comes back. That's three different coaches that were like this guy. And there's a reason that they were going, keep this guy around.
Yes.
Or there's a reason that he was stuck, like he's still here. And that's why it's a loss.
Well, maybe it's because of what you said about Draisaitl and McDavid, big fans.
Yes.
Maybe that's enough to keep them.
Well,
There's nothing wrong with that one for me.
in that time,
You're keeping them happy.
Yeah.
I'll add one more note on this, and then you guys take it away. In that time, Goalie needed a new contract, and they made him one of the highest paid assistant coaches in the league for a reason.
This is a great way to lose Glenn Gulletson because no one could be mad. He's off to become a head coach again.
Yeah.
I also do like the idea that I remember, this is years ago. Don't get mad about the name I'm going to bring up. But I remember Mike Babcock on, I think it was with Speck. And he said he loved his assistants moving on to become head coaches because one, he wants guys with drive on his bench because then they're pushing.
Yeah.
But then also every so many years, like you get new voices and it's just, it's not the same old, same old.
Mm-hmm.
Chance for the Oilers to have a little bit of new voices on that bench with Chris Knobloch.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's a great opportunity where you're not firing anyone. You're not doing it. It's now out of necessity. You have to go do this. And it's a good reason to go.
Is Coffey coming back?
That's a great question.
And
I honestly don't know. And Mark
then Mark
Stewart, I
Stewart.
don't know.
and we said Dustin Schwartz is gone now too.
Potentially. That's the
know.
rumor.
Yeah.
I would have to think Mark Stewart's back at the very least. I don't think you could change all your systems.
You need to have some continuity.
Yeah. Yeah, if Glenn Gullettson's leaving, and let's say hypothetically that it is Dustin Schwartz, I think if you're Chris Knobloch, you're hoping that Mark Stewart and or Paul Coffey are coming back. Replacing at least one is nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to replace three, but if you also have a goalie coach, that's a lot.
Mark Stewart was the X's and O's guys on defense, or X's and O guy on defense, and PK faltered, obviously, had a bad year. But he's a guy that's kind of like hungry to build up his acumen as a coach and wants to eventually become a head coach. That's the indicators I've been given. So
Right.
it's interesting. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of change.
The official drink of the EST Hangout is the Finnish long drink legend of 1952. A drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment. Real liquor, longdrink.com/Canada. We're going to enter your postal code and find a liquor store and establishment nearest you. A perfect drink for Canada Day tomorrow. As what's the 10th? We're like tomorrow's like 29 degrees tomorrow. 27 today. It's already, oh, damn. It's already 21 degrees in Edmonton. 29 tomorrow, 29 on Wednesday.
You know what?
Wow.
It's short weather. I've seen your comments on the short shorts and I admire them. Thank you.
What do I have for the golf tournament next week since I'm already looking at weather?
29.
All right.
My wife's birthday tomorrow.
Oh, what are you guys doing, Guy?
I arranged fireworks for her. I do it every year.
So many people come out for those too.
Baby, I planned the biggest birthday party for you
Yeah.
you can imagine.
Yeah. It's probably just a dinner this year. Last year we went to a Riverhawks game.
Nice. Oh, that was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
The record-setting attendance game.
It was packed.
It's already sold out.
It was a madhouse.
This would be awesome.
I went on the website for tomorrow. Can't buy tickets.
Are you going?
No. I don't have tickets.
It
Can't
was,
get in there.
but it was crammed last year. Like,
Yeah,
I think
it was.
like a little too tight.
Well, part of that reason, so I
it
was
was
talking
hot.
with Hogo
Yeah, it
with the
was.
Riverhawks in the winter, and this is why they made their ticketing changes this year. Was that they didn't have, like, for the most part, it was all general admission. So the problem was that because most of the time when it's like not as full, you could sit a seat apart, like you could have a seat between you or something,
Yeah.
or you're not filling. And they had to go on the PA a few times, like, hey, can you please like shift in people, because there were some seats that just weren't being used.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like they sold enough tickets for the seats, but people were
Still being
a few
obnoxious.
people were sitting up way or whatever. So
Yeah.
or they'd be like a group of 4 using 5 seats type
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So that's why they had to go to reserve seating. And so it should be better controlled for Canada Day tomorrow with it being fully sold out.
Nice.
For a golf tournament, 9 o'clock, we tee off at 8. I've got 16 degrees. At noon, 20 degrees. Going up to 22 degrees, and I'm not seeing precipitation in the one forecast I'm looking at.
That sounds lovely.
Last year we were in a 30, like it was like 32, 33.
It's too hot. I'm too big for that kind of heat.
We got perfect too, because like obviously throughout the day it heats up. So like the last like half the day was in real hot.
Yeah.
There was I don't know if there was a tournament or it was women's night after us. I was like, oh, you're stuck in this heat. You're screwed.
Yeah. No, that'll be good. That'll be a good day out at the ranch. It's always nice out there.
Do you golf much? Anymore?
I haven't swung a club probably 10 years now. I think it was one of the tournaments at the last place. Probably around 2015, somewhere around there.
Do you golf?
Like,
I never asked you.
yeah, like I golfed. I got into it, I want to say last summer, and probably spent way too much money on golfing last summer. I've only golfed, I think, like 2 or 3 times this year so far. But yeah, I'm dying to get back out there. I love it, even though I'm bad.
It's always fun. Scrambles are always great too.
Yeah, scratch.
Tournaments are a blast.
They're the best.
You just have a good time. You enjoy yourself. Somebody's going to hit a good shot. And if
Yeah.
you don't, it's whatever. Although it was funny because, was it Trev? He was with Wolves, I think, last year. And I can't remember who else was in the group. It's funny. He was telling me last week that they finished -1 and they thought they were going to win.
Wow.
They're like, well, we got a birdie. Like they thought they were in contention to win. I'm like, you guys clearly don't play in a lot of golf tournaments because -15 to -20, depending on the skill set of the tournament.
Yeah.
That's your winner. -1 ain't winning a golf tournament
Yeah.
here. You're in contention for the lower end. So, he was like, yeah, last year we went in, we're like thinking like, oh, we might win this at -1. And I was like, I wish you told me because I would have told you ahead of time. No, you're not winning that one. So, yeah, I forgot what our winning score was last year. I had the scorecard still.
Was it like -18?
Was it
like,
-8?
yeah, it was
It's
somewhere around
-18 or
there.
-20. I can't
Yeah.
remember which one it was.
Yeah.
Give me the tutty. Give me the tutty. What do we have on Tecmo? You could go to our
You can
Twitch
dust it,
and
you're going at it.
watch it. We've got Rams versus Giants. Uke's been awful in the return of Tecmo. He's been awful. He's
I
an
actually watched
embarrassment.
one of those
Yeah?
I think it was UConn was playing. UConn was playing Trev. I couldn't tell who was which team though. That I wish there was.
If you're watching Twitch,
Yeah.
I will say this. So it's kind of reverse. When you see the camera of who it is, the person on the right is on the left of the playing screen.
Okay.
And the person on the left is on the right. Yeah, because it's they're looking at it the other way.
Right. Okay.
So that's how it works. So yeah, it's.
Yeah. So I couldn't tell who was who.
I don't know what happened here.
Are these rosters though, like from
August of 1993,
awesome? That's awesome.
and there's no Bo Jackson. This is the Bo Jackson version.
Oh, okay.
So there's no cheating with Bo Jackson or anything like that, where you just can't stop him.
Was Bo done by 93? Because he had that like hip replacement and he still played after, which is insane. He's just a crazy athlete.
That guy. That was the best ESPN 30 for 30.
That was awesome. Yeah.
That was my favorite one.
He played till 1990 with the Raiders. So yeah, he was out.
Yeah. He literally had his hip pulled out of its socket.
In 93, he was with the White Sox.
Oh, he's still playing baseball.
91, 93, 94, he's referenced on teams in baseball.
Okay.
So
Yeah, he was crazy. He was a phenomenal athlete.
Yep.
He's a big hunter now, like a bow hunter.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You should get him on the show.
That'd be awesome. That would be sick to get bow. But do you think, like Deion Sanders, obviously with what he's doing at Colorado, is in the spotlight and his son and all that. But do you think Bo Jackson is appreciated? Like, do you know Bo Jackson, Benny? You're 21,
Oh, yeah.
22.
Yeah.
You're very aware.
Yeah, yeah.
Is it because you're a sports guy, or you
I
just?
think it's because I'm a sports guy, but I've heard about Bo. I've,
Like, seriously legendary.
Superman
Just a
Bows.
phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There'd be a lot less people that know Bo.
Did you
Yeah.
ever see the 30 for 30?
No.
On
It's
Bo Jackson?
amazing.
No, I
If
didn't-
you have
yeah.
access to watch it, I recommend it.
Yeah.
I think they're all on TSN Plus, if you have TSN Plus, for anyone that has TSN Plus. Not a lot
Like,
of
I don't
people.
think I appreciated how dominant he was, how special he was until I watched that.
Yeah.
And that he was doing stuff in college that had never been done before. And
Like, my introduction of Bo Jackson was this cartoon called Pro Stars that had a cereal. It was him, Michael Jordan, and Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, yeah.
And mom was like in charge of their headquarters. I think it only ran for a year or two, but I was like, I love this show. And then I loved the cereal. But then you like learn about Michael Jordan and you learn about Wayne Gretzky and then Bo Jackson. And I'm like, I wonder if they're friends in real life. I know MJ and Wayne are friends. I don't know where Bo Jackson falls in all of this.
Who's been the better two sport athletes of late?
oh, man,
Patty
have there
Mahomes would have been through college, I think.
Russell
Russell
Wilson
Wilson did. He went to Yankees training camp.
They
Yeah.
both played baseball?
Yeah.
Kyler Murray was drafted by the Oakland Athletics, now just the Athletics.
Not a guy for this like debate, but there is a draft pick in this NHL
Mason
draft.
West.
That's also a quarterback.
He's a quarterback.
Oh, no way.
He's going to play high
Yeah.
school football again this coming season.
Yeah.
After now, he's been
That's
drafted by Chicago in the first round.
Well, Anders Lee was supposed to be like a
Yeah, he
high-end
was also a
football,
football guy.
prospect too.
Oh, is Tom Glavine was by the Kings?
He's drafted, yeah.
I think it was the Kings. Mm-hmm. I want to always like
Did that in unison.
What?
drank
The beverage? Or was it John Schmolt?
I thought it was Tom Glavine.
I think you're
Glavine.
right. I think it's Glavine.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
thought there was maybe another pitcher though. Or am I thinking?
Because there
I thought
was
more.
there was a baseball card
Wasn't Tom Brady?
Tom Brady was
Brady
drafted by the Expos.
as a catcher.
He was the last active athlete connected to the Expos. When he retired, the Expos kind of officially died at that point.
I was a
Wow.
Trammell Sledge guy, but whatever.
Because any player that played for the Expos in baseball or like was like they were gone, he was drafted, but he was playing football. But so when he retired, he was the last like active athlete from the Expos.
Wow.
I feel like Greg Maddux did something, but now I don't know if I'm wrong on that.
Maddox.
He did a commercial with, I think, Tom Glavine for Nike called Chicks Dig the Long Ball, I think it was.
Maddux?
Where him and Glavine like worked out to work on their batting because nobody gave love to the pitchers for shutting
Right.
down. So
He's
sounds
just a
familiar.
pitcher.
it popped up on my feed. I was going through like old ESPN commercials and it popped up. I'm like, oh yeah, this one was good.
I just searched up best two sport athletes of all time. Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders,
Yeah.
Jim Thorpe.
Yeah, but that's like 115 years ago.
Charlie Ward, Jackie Robinson.
What did Jackie Rob?
I don't know. I thought he was
Maybe
baseball.
track?
Must have been, or maybe football at that. You know,
Could have started at
football.
baseball, football, basketball, track, or tennis.
Damn.
But that's also back in the day. Like your high school quarterback was also your star pitcher or outfielder,
Yeah.
who was also like your star point guard or like something. But they played all the sports,
Yeah.
and they were the stars in all of them.
They're just great athletes.
And then
all around.
and now it's like there's more special, even in the States, more specialization where you're almost limited in one. Glavin was drafted 4th round, 69th overall in the 84 NHL entry draft by the LA Kings. 2 rounds ahead of Brett Hull and 5 rounds ahead of Luc Robitaille.
Wow.
Did you hear what Luc Robitaille got from the Kings when they drafted him? A pin. They
What do
gave
you
him
mean?
an LA Kings pin.
They just gave him a pin?
Not even
pin.
a jersey.
No, and I think it was in Montreal at the time, and he was there.
No.
And they're like, "Oh, hey, here's a pin."
Man.
Nice.
I'd like a pin.
LeBron too. LeBron was a big football guy in high school. He could have went pro there. Wilt Chamberlain, track, volleyball, boxing, and football. A lot of old guys here though.
Yeah, it's kind of a bygone era.
Yeah.
Seeing a lot of baseball, football though, right?
I bet the season, like I don't know down south, I'm assuming the seasons work.
Well, football's in the fall.
Right, and then you play baseball in the spring.
Spring.
I'm assuming that's why
Yeah.
Yeah.
it would work that way.
It's crazy. Like, there were games where Sanders would pick football, or he'd have to pick football over baseball. Sundays are usually getaway day in baseball anyway. But then there was like a controversy. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and watch one of those documentaries. But it was like he chose to play a baseball playoff game over the football game, and was it Cowboys or whoever he was with? Or Falcons were mad at the time.
I think he had to play. If he played the baseball game, the Falcons demanded that he played for them as well, or like didn't he play the
Okay.
same day?
There was a
2
helicopter
different sports?
game, I'm sure, where he
So
had,
he had to play
fly
both?
somewhere. He flew somewhere,
That's
I'm pretty
nuts.
sure.
Yeah, he played a baseball game and a football game in the same day.
Deion Sanders.
Could you
I
imagine?
think.
Baseball and
Well,
football same day.
And he was an outfielder in baseball.
Yeah, and
October 11th,
a
1992.
D-back.
He played an afternoon game with the Atlanta against Miami. He then flew to Pittsburgh to join the Braves, take on the Pirates in the NLCS game.
That's the
Though
one.
he arrived just before the game and barely had time to warm up, he was on the Braves roster, but did not play. He didn't play in it, but he was there on the roster. So he had to go do both, though.
Well, that's not as exciting though.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, there was an ESPN 30 for 30 called Deion's double play.
But he didn't play.
It says while he didn't play in the baseball game, the feat of playing in both leagues on the same day remains a notable part of his career, but he didn't play.
Yeah.
You got to play him. Like just for
I
the
thought he-
just for
Yeah.
the story.
But it's playoffs.
Yeah, like,
Well,
If he's not good enough for there, or wherever it is, maybe that.
which former Blue Jays catcher played? Was it Jansen? Played for both the Jays and the Red
yes,
Sox in the same game, technically.
yes.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So last year he played in a game for the Jays.
Oh, and they got rain delayed or something?
Rain delayed. He ended up getting traded to the Red Sox.
That's awesome.
And then they replayed that game and he got into the lineup. And I forgot the ruling about why that works.
He had to technically be on the Jays roster for a portion, and then they flipped him over. I can't. It was
That's
something
hilarious.
really technical where you're like, okay, how does this work? UConn's not
I got to see if I can. He officially becomes MLB's first player to play in the same game. So what happened
teams.
was, let me see if I could read this because he became the only player ever to appear on both sides of the box score. Why is this possible? I think it's because he actually didn't do anything in the first game, maybe. With Jansen behind the plate, he was there. He came up for the Red Sox, 2 outs. I'd have to read into this a little bit more. But yeah, he was able to play he played in the same game on both sides.
Yeah, it was wild. And obviously the games were played like a month apart or 2 months apart.
Yeah,
or
it was
something.
July 27th was the original one, and then he finished it in August 26th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it was in June. Sorry, June to August. Those were the little breaks.
Yeah.
So he got to go play for a team and play for both teams. He was a winner and a loser all in the same game. He was able to do it both. Do quickly want to mention that Canada lost in soccer yesterday to Guatemala in the Gold Cup. It was disappointing.
What the hell, man?
Jacob Schaffelberg. That's what happened. 2 yellows in the first half. Got a red card in the first half.
For diving?
No, he was on a yellow, which is when like you got to be a little more careful.
Yeah.
He goes and like basically body checks a guy. Well, now you're going to get another card and you're going to get kicked out. And then he did. Canada's up 1-0. They eventually gave up the equalizer. And then St. Clair is not a good penalty kick goalie. So Canada flames out of the Gold Cup when we were set to take on the Americans on Wednesday for a semi. And they had a chance to go win this all.
That would have been awesome.
So not a good ending. It was very disappointing. You shouldn't have lost to Guatemala. But when you go down a man for an entire half, it's going to be difficult. And it's frustrating. It's disappointing. Yeah, Jacob Schaffelberg. Like, he shouldn't be a starter.
Exactly.
He should be a sub. He's a wonderful sub. Let him play 25, 30 minutes, but he should not start.
He's a little spark plug.
Yes.
And he dives. He goes down very
But you need
easy.
a little bit of that.
Well, it led to a penalty kick goal earlier in the tournament.
But don't be like, you're on a yellow. What are you doing? This was a frustrating day yesterday.
The game previous,
El Salvador game.
is that the rough one where the
The fight.
El Salvador was down to like 9 guys?
The fight with the soccer on the side.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah, that was they got 2 reds in the first half. But were those both? No, one was a yellow that went to a red, I think. Like 2 yellows, and I think one guy got a straight red, if I'm not mistaken on that one. But no, yesterday, like, he got an early yellow, which is always tough, and then he just didn't play smart the rest of the way, and then he gets another yellow, and it cost Canada, where we should be getting set to take on the Americans and maybe winning the Gold Cup. And now it's on to friendlies as we get set for next summer when we're in the World Cup. But they can't play like that.
There were some injuries too, weren't there?
Buchanan got a little nicked up in that. I think David got a little nicked up yesterday. We didn't have Eustachio playing today or yesterday because he was with his main club, and then their club World Cup ended and he didn't show up, and Davies is hurt right now. It's like there is other talent that wasn't there, and that some got hurt during the match, which is a little worrisome. But
Is Promise David like our up and coming potential
he's a nice
star?
looking player.
Yeah. And no relation to
No.
Jonathan?
No,
Okay.
no
'Cause
relation.
you heard a lot about Promise David and some of the plays he made.
You gotta go.
Sean texting in says Tommy Pro Star cereal was legit great. Yeah, I remember. I always enjoyed it compared to like the Ninja Turtles cereal, which was green and goopy.
There was a Ninja Turtle.
Yeah,
cereal.
it wasn't good. It was not good.
I haven't had cereal in a long
Is that like a Lucky Charms kind of thing?
No, Lucky Charms is amazing. Magically delicious, Guy.
time. Those marshmallows aren't the same.
They're not pure sugar like they used to be.
They're just chalk now.
Oh, that's too bad.
I think.
Yeah, you just said you hadn't had cereal in a
Well, the
long
last time I had Lucky Charms, it wasn't that good.
Okay.
That's too bad.
I don't think they're making it better now.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going back. Like, you want us? Let's get back to the old recipe. Cost us a little more money to make, but people love it.
There's a great show. Remember what was Man versus Food? That Adam guy that did Man versus Food and
Oh,
would
yeah.
go try all the challenges around America.
Okay.
He has a show like The Food That Made Us or Foods of the 80s. And he goes back and he's like, and he always talks about it. He goes, the candy today or the treats today or fast food today is not the same as the good old days like the 80s. Like he went to the Pizza Hut and he had like original Pizza Hut.
Okay.
From like when it was greasy and in the pan and at
Right.
the salad bar. Like he went, I think it was Nerds or Jolly Ranchers. He went to like a candy place that manufactures the candy. Oh no, what were those called? They weren't Starburst, but they were similar to it.
Mojo's?
Maybe it was Mojo's, and they had them
Mojo's were
recreate
good.
them with the same flavor, same ingredients, same method from the 80s.
Okay.
So like it's kind of neat because I'm like, I remember all of those.
Yeah.
There was like the Ecto one, High C Cooler Pops, the Ghostbusters. Like it was basically pure sugar. It was worse than Kool-Aid, but it was delicious. Like he goes and he like gets those recreated and done. It's kind of neat.
I'm gonna have to go find
Original Big Mac from the 80s, stuff like that.
Interesting.
And it's like, I think it's The Food That Made Us or something like that. It's on, I think, History Channel, but it's the guy that did Man versus Food.
Okay.
And the way he goes into the story, he's like, man, when I was a kid, candy was better. Man, when I was, and I'm like, this guy's like just a little bit older than me. And I remember those things.
that. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
You missed out, Benny. Sorry. You missed out on the good stuff.
Well, there's some good stuff I had.
Yeah,
guys
we haven't
had-
had the stuff from the past and just when it was done with more quality care.
Yeah.
More quality.
I
Or
miss
just
a
no
Pizza
care.
Hut buffet was the way to go.
Yeah.
That's right.
I've had a Pizza Hut buffet before.
Have you?
Yep.
Remember Bonanza or Ponderosa?
Yes.
I remember Bonanza, not Ponderosa.
Oh,
I remember Bonanza.
I like a good buffet.
Maybe Ponderosa is the American version of Bonanza.
Well,
I don't know.
I'll tell you what. Never go to Golden Corral
I've
in the
been there
US.
and I love Golden Corral.
Oh, it's awful. It's so bad. But yeah, Bonanza. I do remember. Golden Corral. We did it in Oklahoma City once, and it was just like, bleh.
Yeah, you're not. It's good for what it is. I'll say that. I don't know. You're just being gluttonous.
Yeah.
You're just eating a bunch of different food at once, and it works for me. I don't know how many buffets are still around, like those style buffets type thing.
There used to be like Royal Buffet.
Because there's various like Smileys or something for Chinese food. Like you can go and you can still get those buffets, but like
Smiley's is good.
I love Smileys.
In Sherwood Park.
And 82nd Street.
Yeah, there's that one that I
132nd Ave.
think of. But then it's just like, what about that like Americanized food, where you get like the crappy pizza,
Yeah.
and the like
Don't get the pizza. At the
great
buffet.
F steaks, and all of that stuff.
Yeah. Well, even in Vegas, like the buffets have kind of dwindled. They've shut down a lot of them.
Yeah, I was very disappointed when I went to Vegas last year that there was no buffet. I was very excited to maybe have a buffet. I wanted to go full like Vegas vacation type, but except not that crappy buffet, but load up a plate and just like do all that. But there was no buffet.
the best line and scene buffet wise I could think of comes from Vegas Vacation. Remember when Clark is like down on his luck and he goes with cousin Eddie to like the cheap
Yes.
casino and they lose war. They
Rock,
lose
paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, heads or tails. What number am I thinking? And then he needs to get a bite to eat. And Eddie's at the place and the guy's like, "What do you want?" And there's like yellow goop and blue stuff. And he goes, "I'll have some of the yellow."
What?
And they were mislabeled.
Well, that's what he
just
said. Like
takes it out.
Chevy Chase, Clark was like, "I think this is wrong," or this. He's like, "Oh, you're right," and he just moves the labels around.
Oh, some of the yellow.
That's right. Oh, I forgot that part of it.
Great montage.
I haven't watched Vegas Vacation in a long time. But that was a
I
good
don't
one.
remember it at all.
It's always
I wonder if
on.
I've seen it.
It's so funny.
And Papa Giorgio,
Nick Papa Giorgio.
he got his
Papa
fake
Giorgio,
ID,
your usual table, sir. No, not tonight.
and then he won 4 cars. He would
Okay.
put in a slot, and then I remember at the end, he's like, "How did you get all these?" Well, I just put one coin in, then I won, and I put another coin in, and I won, and I put another. And so then they all drove these vehicles home and stuff like
Yes.
that. That's a fun one.
That's a good. It's cheesy. It's dumb. It's mid-90s.
There's
but
Wayne Newton in it.
yeah,
Of course.
he's all over Ellen.
Yeah, and she goes for some spaghetti, some pasta,
Yeah.
and it's
It
just
doesn't ring a bell. I don't think I've seen it.
Oh,
if you ever do see that
Yeah.
one, you give that one a watch because and then they win like a Keno at the end, and well, the old guy does.
the old guy dies. Yeah. No, don't worry. There's a lot of fun stuff, and it's funny when Nick Papa Giorgio uses his fake ID for the first time. He's like, no corrective lenses tonight, Mr. Papa Giorgio. He goes, "No, I do not require them."
I want that Vegas.
Yes.
I want to go see that Vegas. I want to
Yes.
go live in that Vegas for a couple of hours or something.
They stayed at the Mirage. That was when the Mirage had just opened up. Now the Mirage is closed down. It's going to be the Hard Rock. They're building like a
That's
huge
right.
casino tower or a
Hard Rock.
guitar tower. They took out the volcano. They used to have dolphins at the Mirage.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never been to Vegas.
What?
No.
You know something?
I don't have a big desire to go to Vegas.
From my time there, when we went last Feb, which again, weather I was there wasn't the best weather, so maybe it's a little different. You're not missing much.
well,
For me, probably like
my big party drinking days are behind me now, and if there was like some sort of musical act or a show that I wanted to see,
Yeah.
I guess maybe we'd go down for a weekend or something. But
that would be the thing. I think I want to go see a concert at the Sphere one day.
yeah,
Beyond that, like if for gambling perspectives, you could just go to Century.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
can go to River Cree, and
Yeah.
to me, it seemed the exact same.
They're the
It seems
same game. A lot of
it's
the
all
same games. Yeah.
So if you're a gambler, there's nothing there.
Play Alberta. You can just do it on your phone.
You can do it on
There
your
you go.
phone. You have like when it comes to anything else, like again, there's no buffet, so there's none of that. You were talking about, I think, last week on one of the shows. I can't remember which one it was, but it's like before, if you're playing games, you'd get free drinks.
Yeah.
They don't even really do that as
Really?
much. It's harder to find.
Service has
the free
gotten
drinks.
horrible.
And it's just,
Wow.
like
Yeah.
everything you've heard, I've heard of Vegas. When I was there, I was like, I didn't experience almost any of that.
Yeah.
So it's changed since
Wow.
COVID.
What I like about it is like I like the desert, the golf, the quieter, more comfortable once you get away from the strip. I like Phoenix too. So I like the pace there and I like the heat. So anyway. Or you could be like Pagnotta and you could fly in on a private jet from LA after working the draft and then just absolutely have a time.
Which also just screams to me that some NHL owners there are going like, we should go to Vegas to party. We're in LA's a nice city. There's a lot of good things to do in LA, especially if you have the money. But you're still flying to Vegas, so just bring the draft to Vegas. Just make it a permanent home.
Just leave it at the Sphere.
Just do that. Just come up with the money and do that.
Do a
You just
5-year
gotta-
deal with the Sphere.
Why? You just got a deal from Rogers. They give you how much money? Put some of that towards the Sphere every year.
Yeah.
It pays for the Sphere for the NHL draft.
I think it was $1 million to do it at the Sphere, something like that. It was pretty
for
hefty.
the NHL after record profits again this year, $1 million's nothing for that league.
This is valid.
Why are we penny pinching at the NHL level?
It shouldn't be. They're big dog.
Do you have something that you want to put on?
Yeah, just want to say that Lieutenant Eric reports that Mitch Marner is yet to be traded.
Excellent. That's my insider.
Huge if true. Huge if true. And if it's from Eric, it's true.
It's true.
I want to throw this out. We only got a few minutes left. This has been a fun show. This is from Norm. Hey guys, shout out to Brody who turns 20 today from the Combine crew.
Hey, run the clicks.
Happy birthday to Brody. Shout out to the Combine crew.
Oh, do I got to do?
If you want to.
Where did that start?
So Jay, when he was playing for the Golden Bears football team, I think they got it from the hockey team or something, but back in his playing days, they did a round of clicks.
Okay.
And he just brought it here. In fact, we saw it on one of the panels. I think the TNT panel was one day doing clicks during the Stanley Cup final. But the clicks is I feel like it's a poetry thing. When you go to a poetry reading, you do clicks at the end of the poetry.
Okay.
The reason I know that is it's a Goofy movie. Or there was a Goofy movie. I can't remember which one it was called.
Was it 21 Jump Street or 22 Jump Street?
No, that was that too. But there was also like a Goofy movie.
Like
they
the
did.
cartoon Goofy?
Yes.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, there was one of them where there was a poetry and they did clicks too. But then there was 22 Jump Street. There was a poetry reading and they did clicks. So I think it's a very poetry thing. But then Jay, apparently back when he was playing football, he did it and their team did it. So one day he was on the Hangout and said round of clicks, and now we've just done round of clicks. It's very nice. It's better than I don't know. That just sounds weird. I like the clicking part.
Okay.
Round of applause, good for the crowd.
Josh Clausen hates it apparently.
That would.
Well, not apparently. He told us. He was sitting in the chair. He's like, I don't like that.
Sorry, Josh.
And Murray wasn't a big fan either. So I was like, okay,
Sorry,
well,
Murray.
round the clicks for you two.
I didn't get it at first when Jay introduced it here, but
It's
now
fun.
it's just
It
like,
makes
okay.
sense. It's more intimate.
Yeah.
It's more like for small gatherings.
It's cheeky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Round of applause here would just be like, I feel like it's too loud for us four.
Have you heard Trevor, how he claps? Like, and it's so loud and his hands are open. You're like, what are you doing?
But if it's loud, that works.
It's very loud. And he has like a grin on his face. I'm like, are you okay?
To a degree, when doesn't he have a grin on his face?
That's a very good point. He's always
and now the
generally quite
mustache is
happy.
gone.
Yeah.
Yes, and Reed's
That's
fresh
what it
shaven
was.
today.
Is he?
What I saw.
Yeah.
Reed's fresh shaven. Interesting.
Read.
Well, it's a
Did
new
you see it
NHL.
today?
Yeah, when I went.
When it's
Mondays.
fresh new NHL season tomorrow,
Yes.
you Reed, because that kickstarts the new season, and
Good
so I
point.
guess Reed wants to be fresh for the new season,
I respect that.
getting all set. That's the only assumption I'm going to make on that. That makes no sense, but I'm going to go with it. Also, remind people, Edmonton Elks, they'll be taking on the Ottawa Red Blacks on Sunday. It is their Pure Later Tackle Hunger Night.
Nice.
So be sure to bring your non-perishable food items or a donation for the food bank. It's always a big game. It was near and dear to Chris Schultz's heart. I know he was big on that one. On Play Alberta lines are already out. The Bombers are only 3.5-point favorites against the Stamps. The Argos are 2 points favorites home to the Ticats. The Als right now are 5.5-point favorites to the Lions, and the Elks are 2.5-point underdogs to the Red Blacks.
Oh.
Money plus 112 on the money line for the Edmonton Elks, which
Edmonton's
is just
at home.
Yep.
yeah. Ottawa yesterday
Edmonton.
not the best. Edmonton looked good for three quarters.
Yeah, they've lost 3 games, but against 3 good teams. right? Tough to win in BC on the road to start things off.
100%.
Winnipeg and Montreal, probably the two best teams in the league, no?
And yes, and Davis Alexander was the starting quarterback for the Owls. Like with MBT, it's different, but he was the starting quarterback, and they're good. So
Alexander, MBT.
yes. So it's one of those, like it's Ottawa. Their one win this year was they went to Calgary and they won in a huge, massive weather, wild weather.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So they got their one win, and I don't know. To me, the home team usually you start off like I think the rule of thumb is like a 3-point favorite. So to shift that all the way to like 5 points,
I don't know.
I'm intrigued.
If there was
by
a
that,
website that I could go to place a bet, I would bet it on the Edmonton Elks.
Play Alberta, playalberta.ca. Guy, thank you. What's coming up throughout the summer on the Pipeline Show?
Well, there'll be some draft wrap up, and I know I have the WHL Commissioner Dan Neer on the show next week, not this week, but next week we're going to talk a lot about what the state of the league is with some top players leaving, and next year it's Gavin McKenna be first overall. The year after that it'll be Landon DuPont first overall pick. The year after that Maddox Schultz potentially first overall pick. How important is it to the WHL that those guys are drafted out of the WHL and not some college?
And any break? Or are you planning?
Yep, there'll be probably a 2-3 week break end after July, maybe the last week of July, and come back mid-August.
Which means season 21.
Yeah.
21.
Pipeline Show.
Your wife is so lucky
Legal
that you
everywhere.
planned fireworks for her birthday tomorrow.
Yes,
So thoughtful of you.
she's tired of that joke.
Well, I think it's a great joke. Guy, thanks for coming. I really appreciate this.
Anytime, guys.
Pipeline Show, you can listen to it, an extended one, a little bit of an updated one tonight, 7 o'clock right here on EST's audio streams. Tommy's coming up with the oil stream. We got Lock Shop up next. We got EST Afternoons. We got the Reed Wilkins Show as well. On behalf of Benny, Guy, Tommy, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning into the EST Angle presented by Sentinel Storage right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. Lock Shop in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here. Joining us today.